Evening, folks, and after a bit of a hiatus, we are back here at the Knights of the Nerd Table with my good friend OG Jeff. How's it going, Jeff?
We're doing fantastic. Great to be back behind the microphone. It has been a bit of a hiatus, but I think we got our shit together now.
Yeah, I think we finally did. So this particular episode we wanted to focus on was nerddom in the post-GOT, post-endgame world that we found ourselves in. And I really want to start by talking sort of a kind of an autopsy talk when it comes to Game of Thrones. I'll say it, just superficially. My first question is, what the fuck happened?
Well,
What the fuck happened?
I think a great comparison between these two franchises, and they are franchises that went for many years, almost the same amount of time, is how you stick a landing and how you don't stick a landing.
Yeah.
And how you don't stick a landing is you fuck up your last chapter, which is what they did. Now, first, I want to get this out there. I know there's a big raging controversy about Dany going nuts versus Dany being the hero. I'm totally okay with her going nuts. What I'm not okay with is we had to have her go nuts in 3.5 episodes.
Yeah. I think that's what most people, I think, did have a big problem with. There are those fanboys and fangirls of Dany who just didn't want to see her as a bad guy. But most people, I think, did have that logical problem, which was it was hard to believe that arc in such little time we were given. Was it 7 episodes we had?
Well, it was 6 episodes, was season 8. But the first episode was really them just kind of getting ready for the battle with the Night King. The second episode was them all the night before and that was actually a pretty good episode.
I like that, them
with all
hanging
the character
out,
development and just like
interacting.
We're expecting all of us to be fucking dead tomorrow, so let's enjoy our last night among the living.
Yeah,
and then in the middle of that episode is when when Dany found out that Jon was the true heir. Like, oh shit.
Yeah. We kind of got a hint there what was going to happen.
And there were hints dropped along the way from the previous seasons that Dany had a dark side to her.
Yeah.
Back in the season before when she, flambéed the two guys.
Right.
Sam's brother and dad, because they wouldn't bend the knee on that. We saw that Dany had a ruthless fuck you side to her.
Yeah.
And that she had no problems. The thing is, in previous seasons, when she had that ruthless fuck you side to her, they were all bad guys.
Yeah, they were. We were okay with it.
When she, incinerated the slavers, we're okay.
Yeah. When
she incinerated the magicians that had her trapped in whatever that thing was on that, they were bad guys.
Yeah.
When she incinerated all the cows that were trying to enslave her in the tent. She did that without dragons, on her own, but thank you. That was okay because they were trying to enslave her.
Yeah.
And as long as they were bad guys, we didn't mind her evil side.
Which is what Spider pointed out. And I think that was also something speaking directly to the audience because we were complacent then.
Yeah.
We were basically like, well, they're not the good guys, so we don't give a shit. It was easy to look past the fact that she's capable of these horrible things.
Yeah.
Simply because those people are evil, so who gives a shit?
Yeah, but when it started turning around that she started going after the people we kind of liked, oh, wait a second. It's like the classic analogy is like, oh, okay, well, I support the party of leopards eating people's faces, except I never thought the leopards would actually eat my face.
No shit.
So we were kind of complicit with that. So you kind of saw her crazy brewing over the seasons.
Yeah.
But we mostly had her on the hero track, and then about middle of episode 2, or towards the end of it, when she finds out Jon's a true heir, oh shit, what the fuck? And they have the big battle, and of course during the battle itself, which, by the way, outside of the lighting issues, was an awesome episode.
Was the lighting on that not weird? Everyone was talking about it. That's something you rarely hear when it comes to people criticizing a television series. It's usually the writing or the acting. The lighting was shit in that episode. It was so weird.
I thought it was intentional because I thought the whole point was this was the night that's dark and full of terrors.
Right, the darkness I didn't mind, but it had like a grainy look to it. Like they didn't use the right kind of cameras. It had a weird grain. Like I don't think this was.
I thought they were trying to scare us at home as well because we couldn't tell what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
So I thought that was an intentional choice. But in hindsight, you could have let us a little bit of light to see some of what was going on.
See something. I don't mind dark. But they had a grainy kind of look to it, like the cameras didn't work for what the environment they were trying to shoot in. It didn't look good.
But we went from like late episode 2 to middle episode 5, so roughly about 2.5 episodes,
Yeah.
she went from hero to complete psycho bitch.
Yeah.
Is
She
like,
lost her shit.
there's
so
a
quickly.
great meme, and I might send it to you later. It's like it's two side-by-side photos, one of Tyrion up at the top going, okay, well, they've rung the bell, so we march into the city, and we accept their surrender, and we establish our own powers. The next picture is Dany on her dragon going, Leroy Jenkins! And like I said, that's so much sermons. I was like, she had what she wanted.
She did.
She just lit them up out of spite, you know? And then, of course, something a lot of people forget is Dany, as a character, and it's hard to imagine this because the actor is about 30 years old. As a character, she's a 17-year-old girl.
See, and I was wondering that myself. How close are we to the books when it comes to their age? It's implicit that she's very, very young. I have a hard time believing she's 17.
Well, in the book, she started off at 14. Now, in full disclosure, I have not actually read the books. This is just stuff I'm picking up from what other people have posted online. But she starts off in the books as a 14-year-old girl.
Holy shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that makes it a lot more creepy about some of the
Cringy,
things they were
too,
doing in
yeah.
the early episodes. Yeah, you feel creepy. Yeah, we thought incest was bad.
Yeah. Underage incest implicitly in the
Oh
books,
man, it
even
just
worse.
gets when you really start thinking about what people were doing in this show. It is so twisted up and fucked. But that's kind of what we liked about it.
Yeah, it was. It was
So-
unapologetic.
Yeah, so it's like they just really kind of rushed everything. No, a lot of what they did, of course, worked because we ate that shit up for 7. I was about to say 7 years, but 7 seasons. Actually, went longer than that. 'Cause we went a couple of years without episodes. There was some great writing. A lot of people pointed out when they ran out of the original source material and started having to make shit up on their own,
Yeah.
and they got a little squirrely. Kind of went off the rails on that.
Well, one of the biggest problems that people have when it comes to the last season, too, and I don't know if there's any validity to this. We're not going to know with certainty. But supposedly, the part that's a fact is the two gentlemen who were involved in creating this last season are going to be responsible for making some new Star Wars movies. And so what they're
Yeah.
theorizing is they rushed the shit out of the production and writing of Game of Thrones so they could hurry up and jump on Star Wars. I don't know to what extent there's any validity to that.
No idea.
But the fact that that's even out there, I think, has to do with that really helped with the rage towards this last season too. Like the fanboys they weren't happy about it to begin with, and then for that narrative to be out there, people are like, "Oh, really? Fuck this show! You know, fuck the creators if that's what it's going
And
to be."
HBO gave pretty much a blank check. So listen, we're making insane amounts of cash
No
off
shit.
these. As many as you want, you make as many seasons as you want. We'll keep funding the budget on that. No,
Right.
can't do an unlimited budget, but if you want to go if you want to do this 10 episodes, if you want to do one more season of it, we're cool.
And the fans would have been cool with that too. Shit.
We'll keep this milk cow going as long as episode. That's enough. We'll go into other shit now. So we felt a little robbed on that. Now, outside of Dany going psycho, I'm actually pretty okay with everything else. We had most of the character arcs kind of wrapped up the way you would have thought they would have.
Yeah.
Sansa, I thought had one of the best arcs. As she went from this little starry-eyed little girl wanting to live in the big city in a castle.
I'm glad for that too, because I got sick and tired of Sansa's existence in the show only being a victim or somebody we had to fucking worry about all the time. You know, for the longest time, that's what her character was. She was just somebody that we had to worry about all the fucking time. What's going to happen to her next? And it topped off with her being raped and beaten by, what's his name, Ramsay.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's
You
like
know.
like the ultimate victim, but she overcame that.
She
shit,
did overcome
and
that
she
shit.
claimed her own power. Now, Littlefinger thought he was playing her.
Huh.
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah, fuck you, Littlefinger. Yeah, we'll show who's playing here, who. And
God, that was such a great episode too. It was one of my favorites.
oh, it's just there's so many great moments in the episode. So I'm not gonna. So overall, I'm going to give like the entire series like a 9.8 out of 10. It's just we're going to knock off like 0.1 just for general flaws here and there, another 0.1 for fucking up the landing.
Yeah.
Other great arcs, Jon Snow, I think kind of got
Yeah.
ultimately screwed.
John, the thing is with John, I really love John. Like most of the people, I mean, I really rooted for him. He was, also a frustrating character in the last season because, I mean, up until the very, very end, you know what? In defense of the character, and a lot of people are going to say, well, he's not meant to be perfect, Miguel, so that's why he was this way. But it was still frustrating at the very last episode. After everything he had seen, he literally saw burnt kids on the ground. He was still in that mentality of, but she's still my queen. It took fucking Tyrion pointing out to him, look, your brother and your two sisters that are left are on the chopping block. They're next. Yeah. She's not going to stop. It took Tyrion saying that for him to finally be like, oh, shit. Let me wake the fuck up.
And finally, he kind of saw what was going on, seeing kids or the ashen remains, the charred corpses of children, women, and everybody, civilians.
It shook him. It just pissed me off that it didn't right then and there be like, this bitch is crazy. Fuck this shit. Let's go stab her.
I think, and I like to think in his mind, he was thinking at some point, he would be able to talk her down off the ledge.
Like, this was just her losing her shit currently, but I'll be able to talk her down.
We'll be able to, I can change her.
That thing.
How many relationships have gone that route on that? And to finally just point out, no, she's fucking dangerous. She fucking kills. She kills prisoners.
Yeah.
They surrender. They're no longer a threat. She kills them just because they're dangerous there. I especially like that he made the Dark Phoenix Wolverine choice.
Yeah.
Which was, I love you, but you are a threat to the planet.
Yeah.
I have to kill you to save everybody else. It is probably the hardest thing he's ever done in his life. Sort of dying and coming back to life.
That was probably number one.
There's 1A on that, but it's, and of course, we'd be remiss if we don't talk about Little Miss Arya.
A.K.A. Batman.
I actually think of her more of like a Talia al Ghul, the daughter of Raish.
God, she's such a badass. She was my favorite character. I think people are going to argue with me on this. I think that she had the best arc. She was always ambitious. We always kind of felt that she might be a badass. We didn't know to what extent in the first two seasons she would end up as. Mm-hmm. She's a magnificent ninja capable of coming on Mortal Kombat. Like, she's fucking amazing.
She had so much shit thrown from season one. I mean, season one, her dad gets killed flat out.
In front of her.
She's lost her. She spent like a couple, 3 seasons trying to track down what was left of her family.
Yeah.
Just for them to be killed right before she got there. She gets beaten. She gets abused. She gets blinded.
Yeah. And most of the entire season, she can't fucking see.
And she bullshit to become probably the most dangerous person.
Yes, absolutely.
At least in the moment of awesome when she takes down the Night King. And okay, I've got you now, bitch. I got you by the throat. Yeah, I got your knife hand. Yeah, you didn't get the other hand.
But
wait. What?
And there was the one thing that Mags, my girl, pointed out too when she rewinded it, that Bran, the little nuances, they still played well into that in the show if you pay attention. I don't mean the Starbucks cup either. That was a fuck up.
I didn't even notice until the next day on the internet.
But there weren't a little cool nuances that Bran looks right at the chest of the Night King with a specific position where he gets stabbed. That should have given it away. But I rewinded. I was like, oh no shit, he sure fucking does. That's why he wasn't scared. That's why he looked at him right in the chest, or right here below the chest, knowing that was going to happen to his ass.
Well, it's real easy to be super detached about all the shit that's going around you when you already know how it ends.
Yeah.
I've already watched the entire series. I know how this ends. I become king and everything.
That's a good segue into what that theory is. And he said you heard, supposedly, the ultimate villain is Bran. And I understand why people feel that way, because we have to assume he saw what was going to happen at King's Landing, everyone getting torched. We had to assume he knows about one of the dragons dying, all the horrible shit that was happening. We had to assume he was going to know that.
Yeah.
So it's reasonable to think that he not only did he see it, but he knew and he let it happen so he could become king.
Yeah.
That's more than a reasonable thing to assume as a fan theory. I get it.
He is the king of the 6.5 realms. He's got some influence on Sansa, you know.
Yeah, I have
Yes,
mixed feelings about her staying. It's like, Sansa, it's your brother. Come on, do you really have to stay there? No, we're going to remain independent. Sorry, I love you, my brother, but it's your fucking brother on the throne, Sansa.
Comes back to Sansa though. She's the ultimate power in the North now. She answers to nobody.
Yeah,
I mean, she's got to maintain some diplomatic ties.
Yeah.
With but it's your fucking brother.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, or Three-Eyed Raven, whatever the fuck he wants to go by now. But yeah, so it's like it all ran. And of course, and then I find it funny that Tyrion is effectively the king.
he kind of is.
You know, because
He's the ultimate decision maker.
Braun's not going to do shit. He's going to lay back and put on his, his Google Eye VR helmet on and just, I don't know, watch, 3D porn somewhere. I
Yeah.
don't know, whatever he does, Do you think he's really making policy decisions?
No.
Diplomatic? Nah. Tyrion's running the show. And honestly, he's probably the best person for the job.
He probably is. I can't think of anyone else. We're gonna, of course, our ideal, as fanboys was Jon Snow, of course, but it's not gonna be Jon because I never wanted it, as he said multiple times.
Jon got what he wanted.
Yeah.
He never wanted to be burdened with power, responsibility. He just wanted to live his own life, and he's gone out with the
the free
wildlings
folk.
of the North.
Yeah.
We'll sit into the wall. What fucking wall? You mean this giant 200-foot gap here? No. There's no wall there.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just say he's going to go to the wall so he doesn't get fucking killed, and we can all avoid a war here.
I really wonder if more people would have been happier and bitched less about the ending if it would have been a more fucked up ending where more people died. Because I think that there's people who would have felt like, okay, it's more of an epic ending, so I'll take that, even at the cost of us losing all of our heroes,
It did feel a little anticlimactic in places. Some of the big battle scenes just kind of fell apart. And I got to come to one of my bitches before we get out of here on this Game of Thrones topic. It seemed like in season 8, everybody took their stupid pills. I'm an OG. I'm an original old school gamer. I come at things with a tactical frame of mind. If I was the general in charge of this army, if I was in charge of the opposite army, what would I do? And both sides were fucked up.
Yeah.
They made some fucked up tactical decisions. Oh, Dany forgets about the Iron Fleet. Oh,
Yeah, she
and-
gest flanked in the middle of the fucking ocean from the sky.
Yes. She's
What
on a
the-
dragon that can cruise at 3,000, whatever her maximum ceiling is on this fucking dragon. You would think she would be able to see this fleet farther away than these ballistas can actually fire.
Yeah, and in the book, that's what I was reading. A lot of fanboys were pissed. I was reading on Reddit because George R. Martin, had clearly says in the book, and he said in an interview supposedly, that it's almost impossible to shoot a dragon out of the sky, that it's happened once. But man, did they nail what's his name? Like,
And I'd like to talk about the rate of fire on these ballistas.
yeah, holy shit! If that thing is long enough to take out a dragon,
Yeah.
how fast can they load those fuckers on a boat?
You're talking about like what looks to be like a 10-foot spear that's
Yeah.
got to weigh at least 20, 30 pounds, and you're loading that, plus you are cranking back however many foot-pounds of tension on this drawstring, and they're cranking off like a round like every 5 or 10 seconds. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit! There are World War II cannons could not put out that
No
rate of fire
Shit.
with fucking gunpowder and auto loaders and shit.
Yeah, it's just broad
and
writing.
then the next episode, well, her dragon's totally invincible because the same Iron Fleet, will come out of the sun this time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
It's
so
just-
there's some broad writing in there that I think that people would have been more forgiving of if the very last episode would have been better and more climactic. And after I watched it, I didn't want to admit that I was disappointed because it was
Yeah.
7-8 years of our lives. And the next morning I woke up and I was just like, God damn it. Like, I really did want something more.
It could have been so much more than
Yeah.
what we got in all of this. And of course, one of the things I did want to mention before we wrap up our Game of Thrones topic is the parallels
Between
Cersei and Dany.
yeah,
Because frankly, those two were two sides of the same coin. They both wanted one thing
yeah,
all their lives. They wanted to be the bitch in charge.
yeah.
And they did not give a fuck who died,
At the cost of it, yeah.
who suffered, who was miserable, who they did not give a fuck what the price was going to be. They would throw literally anybody under the bus to get what they wanted. And they did, and they both died for it
Yeah.
on that.
It's funny because we didn't think of Dany that way. Earlier on in the series, we thought that she was sort of the answer to Cersei. We didn't think at the time she was going to be the same, the other side of the same fucking coin.
Here's to the new boss, same as the old boss.
Yeah.
It's just, it's like, as fucked up as Cersei was, she didn't kill 1 million civilians.
Right. Well, but people are going to say, but she was willing to sacrifice 1 million civilians.
She would have,
Yeah, but she didn't.
but she did not. Thing is, Cersei would have killed 1 million civilians to get what she wanted. Dany killed 1 million civilians after she had what she
That's
wanted.
a very good point. Is that Cersei was willing to sacrifice or risk 1 million civilians. Dany did it out of fucking anger and rage.
She
which is
she
arguably worse.
just got the rage quit, the ultimate rage quit in this. Fuck you all. Fuck, I hate you all of you fucking die, and I've got a fucking dragon, so
Here we go.
yeah. Lot them up.
And
Yeah.
dude, going back to Cersei real quick before we move past in
Hmm?
Game of Thrones, did she have an arc? Because people are arguing online too, but did Cersei have an actual arc? I think she did, because I think that she, even though she was more arguably evil than she's ever been, she was still smarter and more humbled than she's ever been towards the last season. Because, I mean, she went through shit. She was marched through the fucking streets,
Oh, yeah.
naked and humiliated.
I think she did have an arc to her. She had a arc in terms of a plot and into a story about what she went through.
Yeah.
As far as her actual growth, not so much growth as a character, but it's something that people don't give her credit for. She is every bit as smart as Tyrion is, but
I think
more ruthless.
I think so. I have a hard time, like, instinctively, because I love Tyrion. I want to argue that, but I have a hard time doing it. One of the best things that ever happened in Game of Thrones, in my opinion, one of my favorite moments was whenever she gets back at the old guy, the Pope wannabe.
Oh, the Sept, yeah.
The Sept.
The crow, the canary, whatever his name was.
Yeah.
The sparrow.
The sparrow.
Yeah.
God, with the green flame.
And just when you think
Dragon
he's
flame.
pulling that noose in around her tighter and tighter and tighter, and he's left her no wiggle room to get out of this.
Yeah.
She pretty much, you know what? Fuck you.
Yeah.
I'll blow your shit up. I'll blow all your shit up.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you could just gather all of my political enemies in that same room at the same time, okay, thanks. That'd be a great help.
Bingo.
Boom. Oh, look. I'm the fucking queen now. Huh. Imagine that.
Yeah.
It's like- So I don't think she really planned it that way. I think she was comfortable just being the kingmaker, the
Yeah.
power behind the throne, as long as Robert was doing what she said, and that was fine. You know,
Yeah.
she didn't mind just dancing Robert along his strings. When he got killed and Joffrey became king, she didn't mind just dancing him along the strings. And then when his little brother, who I forget his name, the weak guy, she kept him dancing on the strings.
Yeah, she did.
She kept everybody dancing on the strings and being her little puppet on the Iron Throne, doing what she wanted until she ran out of puppets. And okay, I'll just
Guess
run it
what?
myself. I'll just do this
I'm
shit
gonna be
myself.
Queen Bee. I've got this shit.
Yeah. So
I had a hard. It's the brilliance of Game of Thrones is that they're able to give us characters in season 1 that I thought my whole existence with watching the show was going to be to watch them get theirs and die, and I mean Jaime and Cersei.
mm-hmm.
And somehow, towards the end of the series, you get me to care about Jaime and like Jaime, and even Cersei, who's still evil, arguably as evil as she's ever been. But you get me to like and care about what she does and what happens to her. And Jaime, he has an arc because I don't think he's evil.
Oh, he definitely has an arc. I was a little surprised when he flipped at the end. I thought he had finally grown away from Cersei, but
I think that he, and again, it's all speculation, but I think that Jaime thought that he didn't deserve to be there with them. I thought that Jaime
went back to die.
Yeah, that he went back to die. That he belongs with Cersei. He knew Cersei was facing death. He made the decision to die with her because he thought that's what he deserves. That is his place to die with her.
That's an excellent point.
I mean, because he was upset when he left Brienne. He was like, she's a horrible person or she's a hateful person, but so am I. So it was basically him saying, it's as fucked up as it is. You deserve better. I got to go die over here. Like,
Yeah,
I don't. For Brie, the first time she gets laid.
He couldn't have done this before Tormund left. Because,
Right.
come on, Tormund's like, man, you fucking cock blocker.
He did. He cock blocked and then left and broke her heart.
And Tormund was brokenhearted and
Yeah.
rides away, almost in tears.
See what that royalty dick does to you? It leaves you standing outside in a robe crying, Brienne. Damn it.
He literally hit it and quit it. It was
He
a hit and
did.
run.
Damn it,
He
it was.
took her cherry and rode off to his other bitch.
God. Yeah.
You fucking asshole. And we were just saying how much we admired
Yeah,
him and
he
his
is.
growth on that. You asshole.
Yeah, he was.
But the thing is, the whole there were so many
You couldn't have stayed
major, minor characters. I mean, we could start just going all night long about the rich roster of primary, secondary, tertiary characters that filled out this thing. And yeah, so again, altogether, I'm still very happy with it overall. They kind of jacked up the landing on this. Still a great series on that. So as a direct comparison on that, let's come back to a franchise that did not screw up the landing.
No shit.
Boy, oh boy, did these guys set up a plan, follow the plan, and when the plan fucked up, improvised the plan, and then stuck the landing. Oh
Yeah.
my God, this was so. I mean, where to even start with all of this? You know, first off, I'm assuming, of course, if we hadn't given it already, spoiler, guys.
No shit. I really want to meet the person who's going to be like online on YouTube or anywhere right now and be like, well, I haven't seen it. Fuck these guys for giving away spoilers. If you're anything remotely of a fanboy, you've seen it at least once
Dude,
or
it's been a
twice.
month now.
It's been a month.
Yeah, it's been like about 6 weeks. You know, that's on you now. All right. The opening week, opening night, opening weekend, first week. Okay, 2 weeks. Okay, maybe it's been 6 weeks, dude. Okay,
Yeah,
it's
it
on
is.
you, man. If you haven't seen it, why the fuck are you here?
Right.
That being said, I haven't seen Dark Phoenix, so you know I don't. Really give a fuck.
We just actually, me and Mags, returning to the sort of thing. We just did a podcast on that last night, and the whole thing was, is it as shit as they say? And it wasn't as shit as they say. And I told
Really?
her it actually wasn't. And I think that I will never know if I liked it because my expectations were so low. I walked in there expecting a complete shit mill.
You know that can help a lot because
It really can.
When I heard that it was worse than The Last Stand, you know,
No, that was part of the discussion last night. I actually do not think it was worse than The Last Stand, which really says something. How horrible of a movie was The Last Stand? Where
It was
even
pretty
now,
bad.
I'm like, fuck that movie. Like,
it had a lot
God, it's a
of
shit mill.
wrong things going on with it. You know, okay, well, I'll maybe check it out this weekend. I've got nothing else going on.
I think it's a matinee of a film. It's nothing that I would pay full price for again. But
Matinee,
I
okay.
had fun. Yeah, if you want, we're gonna probably upload it tonight. Just if you want to check
cool.
it out. Yeah,
Sure.
You'll see
I'll look forward
why.
to seeing that then, and maybe that'll convince me to spend my $8 on it.
But yeah, but going back to the real Marvel
The
universe,
real MCU.
the
oh
real
my
MCU.
God.
We're in your theater. The audience reactions were what you would expect, right?
Oh,
After a decade of us following this franchise,
I was
wasn't
probably
it?
leading those reactions.
Yeah. I remember at the end of Endgame, as the movie ended and the credits started rolling, people didn't even seem to care about the fact that there might be an end credit scene because everyone always sits there and be quiet. Motherfuckers the size of football players, big
Oh, yeah.
dudes, were standing up and hugging and tearing like they had just watched Passion of the Christ. It was incredible to
There's
watch.
no
man.
shame to having that tear roll down your cheek on that. There were so many powerful emotional moments.
Yeah.
Not only just an Endgame, but the entire series. Because really what this is was a 22-chapter story that led up to this.
Yeah, you had said this earlier, and I didn't even realize it was literally 22 movies. In my head, without thinking about it, I pictured 15, 16 movies at the most.
When you fill in all, Ant-Man and all those others, Guardians, all the sequels along the way, 3 Captain Americas, 3 Iron Mans, 3 Thors.
Yeah.
At least 1 Hulk.
Yeah.
In there as well. I mean, we've had lots, and now they were not all directly tied into the main plot, but they all touched on it.
Yeah.
At some point
It's
or
something
other.
it's a universe we spent the last decade of our lives really getting a feel for, really being pulled into. And it's like you said, they stuck the fucking landing. Not everyone thought it was perfect. Not everyone thought that, they didn't stick the landing. But some of that, I've read online, or when I look online, what problems people had with the end of Endgame. And, often it's superficial stuff like, well, the time travel doesn't work that way. Or they shouldn't have killed Tony. It's really superficial and argumentative.
Time travel never works that way.
Yeah, we don't.
If you really sit down and work out time travel, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really dependent upon what theory of time travel you go
Exactly.
with.
Unless you're working with a Wheeler model, it's all a shit show. Like, it's ridiculous.
I think they went to the standard multiple timelines. Every time you change something, you're creating a new timeline.
Yeah.
And I know, not only do I know, but I've seen the guys that have done the flow charts.
Yeah.
He's got his own timeline now. Okay, all right, okay, that's fine. Maybe we'll do a sequel. Disney will do a TV show about it, whatever, on that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stick with what was presented to us in this story, in the timeline that survived.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm going to focus on. And oh my God, they hit everything. Because part of what made all this work is because we spent 22, not just episodes, but 22 quality chapters.
Yeah, we did.
Coming to this point, we got to know all these characters. We got to know what makes them tick. We got to form a bond with all these characters. Even minor guys like the Falcon. Guys,
I love Falcon.
Yeah, guys that don't really merit their own movie, but they had their emotional impact when he came up with that "on your left."
Yeah.
The on the left. It's, okay, let's talk about the scene here because let's put tap dance around it. Where to start? Okay, I'm going to take it from the top where the Trinity, Thor, Cap, and Tony are walking out. Okay, it's a trap. Don't really care. All right, let's kill them proper this time.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's SmackDown time.
Yeah.
And these are pretty much the 3 heavyweights.
Yeah.
On the event. Well, maybe not. Well, Hulk was not really there, but still, these are the 3 iconic guys.
Yeah.
And they went to town on Thanos, and they were giving him what for. And they were working with him back and forth. And, of course, everybody knows that several moments of awesomes. But the big one, of course, is when he's trying to grind that axe into Thor's chest. Mjolnir flies up and bonks him on the top of the head. And of course, you think that's just Thor calling Mjolnir forward. Yeah. And it comes back and lands in Cap's hand.
God. Probably my favorite scene.
I'm not sure if I stood up and screamed, but I certainly sat up and screamed. It's like, yeah, motherfucker, it's on now, bitch. And it's like, worthy, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm the best martial artist in the team, and now I have the power of Thor.
Yeah.
It's on now, motherfucker. And
so great.
That was probably the worst beating Thanos took.
Yeah.
From any single character. And that was when Thanos lost his shit. That's when Thanos got pissed off.
Yeah.
It's because Cap was wailing on him.
Yeah.
He's
like, this isn't supposed to fucking happen.
This little, he's like some minor little medium weight
Still
dude
human.
over here. He's some little, he's got some jacked up strength and everything, but I've got Thor's power now. And, and I'm just as fast and good as I was. And then just wailing and wailing and that was such an epic fight between the two of them. And
God, I want to again just be you talking about that fucking fight. I swear, it's incredible.
I've seen it, and I've probably, in fact, 40 minutes of the film from when he takes out the Avengers base. Yeah. From when that fight forward, I would just pay to see that on an endless loop.
Yeah.
Just like take my money. It's like, yeah, the rest of the movie is good, and it's a good, solid story about how we got to this point, really, but this is the money shot. This is what we all... Of course, he's pushing back Cap, because Cap, as good as he is still not equal to Thanos.
Of course not, no.
And then just like, Cap being Cap,
I could do this
Thor's
someday.
down.
Yeah.
Tony's down. My shield, I got half a shield left.
Yeah.
He's knocked me halfway across the landscape. Ah, shit. Let me just buckle my shield down with,
Yeah,
with whatever's left of this.
Let's just keep going.
And then just that little spark in the radio. Cap, can you read me? It is like, at this point, I'm already sitting up again.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, shit. Is that, oh, yeah.
It's everybody.
Yeah, he snapped. Everybody's back. Can you hear me? And the big sparky circle opens up. And, oh, shit. We've got reinforcements, motherfucker. You thought it was over.
Yeah.
And then just not the one, and I didn't even count. I've seen it 2 times, and I still, it's like 20, 30 circles open up, and the entire fucking universe is coming through this. We have got Asgardians. We've got the Wakandans.
Yeah.
We've got the Nova Corps coming in. We pretty much everybody major and their power in the universe is, no. We're in.
Yeah.
Let us have a piece of this.
Tag.
And oh my God, the scene when Doc Strange and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love Spider-Man, childhood favorite. But, let's be honest. Spider-Man's a medium to heavyweight hero, but he's just a medium to heavyweight guy. But by God, the cheer for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Just showing up. Yeah, fuck you. Spider-Man's here. Fuck all of you.
Yeah.
He's 17 years old. He's got no combat experience, but fuck you, he's here.
Yeah.
And then just that moment of like, okay, Avengers, assemble.
We finally, right there. And also the look. I remember people that were actually bootlegging the movie made a meme or making a point off of that scene because somebody took a picture of that scene when he tells him that that's the one.
He knew it before he gave Thanos the Time Stone.
Yeah.
5 years earlier.
Yeah.
And he knew he was sentencing Tony to death.
Yeah, because this is not your time to.
Right.
Is basically what he was.
And why he traded the Time Stone for Tony, because that's the one with this. The way it works. So Doc Strange, of course, he can't say anything, but he knows what's coming on that, and so Mike, it's like the fact that he stayed silent about that, even though he's like the anti-brand. Because he saw what was happening.
Yeah.
Saw the 6 million different versions of what would happen. And yeah, he kind of allowed it, but he actually played an active role in it happening. He actually kind of helped steer the course with that. And yeah, I just brought that, when you saw Thanos with his I am inevitable speech and his snap is plink.
Yeah.
Oh,
nope.
Fuck. Gotcha.
Yeah.
It is like, it is in live when you're seeing that the first time, your brain is processing what's happening, what's about to happen.
Yeah, you knew what was going to happen to Tony the moment he had that glove in his hand. I was like, God damn it.
Man, if Hulk can barely handle this, what the fuck is Tony going to do?
No, we knew he was done as soon as he was going to snap his fingers.
Literally sacrificing his life for the universe.
The all universe, because Thanos had given that spiel, that speech. You know what? I'm sick of this half bullshit. I'm going to go ahead and start from scratch, motherfuckers. Like he had said he's going to wipe everything out.
And I'm just going to create people who just worship me.
Yeah.
And who won't know anything about what was before.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's pretty much your delusional godhood syndrome going on.
The Mad Titan. He was at that moment we've heard about for years in the comic books.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, that's like, I knew it was coming. And then when he's actually just laying down to die, and Pepper and Peter and everybody come up to him, what's going on.
What made it more sad to me, what made it more emotional, was that Pepper wasn't crying her head off. Pepper was being strong, and she's like, it's okay. That was hard, because it was like she was everyone's mom kind of at that point, because she wasn't crying hysterically for Tony. And almost like, it's like a strong mom for the fucking audience. And then there was that really sad, emotional Mr. Stark. Like they knew how to get us. It was so good though.
And God, it is like it just. I cried up. No shame to that. I
Saw motherfuckers in the theater, like I said, all shapes and sizes, just weeping over that.
And I kind of hoped. Knew the good guys would win because
somehow
it's a comic book story.
Yeah.
We lost round one. We win. I thought it was going to be Cap.
Well, I think all of us did
because we knew Cap was leaving the series.
We didn't know for sure about Tony.
And then it was like that emotional switcheroo. So I was kind of half prepared for Cap to die. I was not prepared for Tony to die.
I mean, that's most of us. I think that most of us. We felt for many different reasons that it was going to be Cap. Maybe both, which would suck.
One, possibly. I didn't expect Cap to survive.
Yeah.
And when he was strapping on that half shield, I was this is it.
Yeah.
He's going to sacrifice himself to make the hero play here.
Yeah.
And then the fucking Avengers assemble with this. And then, of course, we had the wrap up afterwards on that.
What do you think? I've heard people. It was such a heated debate that I listened to just a few weeks ago on that, about Cap's ending. I thought that it was a bittersweet and beautiful ending. I thought that Cap, he got what he deserved in the best of ways.
Yeah.
I mean, what the most heartbreaking things ever in the whole MCU was whenever Cap wakes up in the future and he tells, what's his name, that line, I had a date.
Yeah.
And he loses Peggy. It's like, fuck. Like, this is the cost of him being part of the Avengers, is that he loses the love of his life. He probably never got laid. It just sucks.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Cap wanted only one thing.
Yeah.
He wanted to have the happy ending to get his girl to ride off in the sunset.
Just want peace, yeah.
When he went into the ice, that was denied to him.
Yeah.
By the time he wakes up, she's like 90 years old with Alzheimer's and stuff.
God, yeah, that was such a heartbreaking scene, too, when he's visiting her at the hospital. And she's talking to him, and they're having a good moment. And then something happens where she has that Alzheimer's moment. She's like, oh, Steve, you're here. And it's so sad because it's like she's there with him, but not really.
Cap always made the sacrifice. He always made the play for everybody else. He always put others ahead of himself. And, of course, that's what made him worthy of Mjolnir.
Yeah.
On that. But he never got what he deserved. And so I was totally okay for him to get the happy ending he deserved.
He got to live his life. Yeah.
He got to live a normal life. Now, it meant he had to give up what he had beforehand because he can't be Cap anymore, even though he's going back to the 40s. And he's basically taken over where we left off. He knows
he cannot be Cap, or it's going to fuck everything up.
He can no longer be Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
He can no longer be Captain America. So the way I interpret it, they don't say it out loud, but I interpreted that he and Peggy lived as secret man and wife.
Oh, absolutely. On that. They had to have.
But they got to live that life together until he's circled all the way back around
to that moment
where he gives the shield away to Sam,
which I'm fucking excited about.
Yeah, I heard a lot of debate about why he didn't give it to Bucky.
First of all, no, that would have been cringy because Bucky, even though he couldn't help it, is responsible for killing Tony's parents. He comes with a lot of fucking baggage, and Sam's ideal. I mean,
Sam's the guy who's worthy of the title.
Yeah,
and what I heard somebody along what you were mentioning, something else somebody pointed out. Bucky doesn't want it.
No, fuck no.
Bucky has got so much PTSD from all the shit that he's gone through. All he wants to do is go live a peaceful life.
Yeah, that's what he has left. Why the fuck would he want to be Cap at that point in his life?
They actually, at the end of Black Panther, they actually had to go and get Bucky.
Yeah.
And give him his metal arm back and say, hey, we need you.
Yeah, guess what?
Yes, I'm sorry, dude, but it's like the fate of the universe. We need all hands on deck.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful moment, too. He's there armless with those little kids living a very, very peaceful life, and they have to remind him that the shit's about to hit the fan again, so they need his help. That's who Bucky is. There's no reason why he would, like you said, want to be fucking Cap. Mm-hmm. So Sam would want it, and he can take up that legacy brilliantly. Yep. Now, I had heard, and this is where we can segue into the future of the MCU in the post-Endgame world. From what I understand, I haven't read a lot, so many of these characters are going to be getting their own show. I know that Loki's getting his own show. I don't know if it's going to be a young Loki. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. I know that Black Widow's getting her own movie. I have no idea what point of her life that's going to be in. And I know Sam's getting his own show, which I wish would be a movie instead.
Actually, from what I understand, Loki's movie is kind of aimed at a younger audience, like a teen, young adult.
So it's going to be like a younger Loki.
Yeah. It's Disney.
Of course.
And then for a more mature, gritty level, they're going to actually, what I heard is they were going to try to match Sam and Bucky together.
I wouldn't mind that at all.
As a pair.
I think at this point, because we've gotten to like him so much, I would not mind. I would really like a movie with Sam. But it's going to be a Netflix type of show with a monster budget. Well, if it's fucking Disney, they can afford to do almost anything. So I'm excited the fact they're going to give it a huge budget. From when I was reading, I've really gotten to like Sam so much I would have liked a fucking movie, man.
Yeah, I think Sam is a worthy inheritor of the title. I'm thinking he's going to have his obvious limitations because he's still not Cap.
He's not a mutant. Cap was a fucking mutant, basically.
Yeah, he doesn't have the super soldier serum to boost his power.
I wonder if they would do that. If they would do something to Sam to make the show more interesting and to make the fights that he's going to be facing more believable and tangible, if they're going to give him something like a super serum in the show. I wonder if they would do that.
I think they might, maybe not that so much, but some other kind of MacGuffin just going to boost his power level as well. I mean, you could make his wings out of vibranium. That would help.
Yeah, or Uru.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be...
Uru may be a little bit harder to find.
Yeah. some Thor material.
I got a whole Wakanda full of vibranium over here.
Yeah.
Uru, I got to go to whatever the fucking star with Peter Dinklage is and get some of that shit. That's a little tougher to come by.
Yeah. But yeah, I do see them kind of boosting Sam's power, and we see in Infinity War before Endgame how much of a badass Sam has become. I mean, he's able to take on some of Thanos' fucking thugs.
Yeah.
He's magnificent when it comes to being a fighter over the past, decade.
He is trained well under. I mean, he was already had his military training, but he learned with Cap, and he trained as part of the Avengers between movies on this. So he did pop up his level. So far, we don't have much information about the upcoming MCU. They have released their movie schedule for the next couple of movies, but it's a lot of obscure shit.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to make a Guardians 3, which is kind of like an offshoot, of course.
I don't mind Guardians 3. I'm going to be I never thought I would say this because I hated Thor when I first saw him in the first movie. I thought he was obnoxious. I thought he was like Fabio. But now, after Ragnarok and the last two Avengers movies, I've gotten to love Thor. And if I don't see another Thor movie, I'm going to be really fucking disappointed.
Yep. Thor has literally lost everything.
Yeah, holy shit.
His whole family is dead. His home is gone. He's got what's left of his people, which, let's face it.
It's a village.
Thor's a crappy king. Great hero, crappy king.
Nah, it's very true.
You do this shit. I'm going to go do some hero shit over here because, that's really kind of my bad.
And if I can't do the hero shit, I become a drunkard like the big fucking Lebowski. I have mixed feelings.
Me a little raw on the. Yeah, you could have had him been drunkard, but it's been established many times in the MCU. Thor can drink a lot.
Yeah, he can drink shit
and not gain the weight. He's Asgardian.
Yeah,
even it's like I had a little trouble with that. I know why they did it. For a little comic relief.
It was a sitcom gag that felt a little out of place.
That gag ran a little too long.
God, it did.
About just drunken, broken down Thor and just emotional wreck Thor. Can I get a little bit more badass Thor?
Yeah.
Because it's still Thor. He's still Thor.
Yeah.
So, he's got a lot of power. Of course, we've all seen the trailers for the new Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah, and it's really cool how they have Tom Holland in the beginning of the trailer say, if you haven't seen Endgame, major spoilers ahead, and in the trailer we see the world mourning, particularly Peter for Tony.
I like how they did two trailers, one pre-Endgame, one post-Endgame, with a spoiler warning up front.
That was really good.
On that, and it's like, think about the guilt Peter lives with now. The mentor, his one father figure, who brought him into the Avengers, brought him into the hero game, put him on the map as far as super. He was just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but this local guy, he might as well have been one of the Defenders.
Yeah, he was in Queens.
Another story. made him an Avenger. And now the guy that made him what he was, that gave him this fancy spider suit, the guy's gone. Peter's been orphaned twice now.
Yeah, he really has. I didn't think about that, but he really has.
So he's going to be an emotional wreck coming into this, and he's still a teenager. And teenagers can't handle normal life on their own. You're throwing this.
It's going to be very, very interesting to see.
And of course, and I don't want us to go off on a sidetrack a little bit, but I've heard the whole, Mysterio's from an alternate dimension, and they're going to establish the multiverse with the Spider-Man. I'm going to go on record saying this bullshit. I'm not buying it for a fucking minute.
I really hope they don't go into anything. I think we've talked about this close to the Clone Wars, because the Clone Wars were such a fucking mess in the Spider-Man series. There were those of us who stopped reading it because of it.
I've still got a 10-year collection of comic books at the house from like the mid 80s to the mid 90s. What got me to stop buying comic books was the Clone Saga.
The Clone Saga. That's what it was.
So
I said Clone Wars. Clone Saga was a shit mill of a storyline.
It went for a year and it made no fucking sense.
Yeah.
No, but the multiverse, if you want to introduce the multiverse at some point, maybe, but I actually think it's a cop-out because it just lets you keep cycling heroes in and out from different realities. So death loses its meaning. Okay, well, we've lost this Iron Man. We'll just bring in Tony Stark from Earth 2 or Earth...
Which is why I hope they don't do that. I don't want them to trivialize the deaths of the people we've had, marginalize it.
If for those of you not familiar with the Spider-Man and his Rogues Gallery, the main villain in this is Mysterio. If you don't know, Mysterio's big gimmick is... whose whole bag is he uses his mastery of deception, special effects, illusions, what have you, to misdirect people into thinking he's a super-powered beast and stronger than he is to get away with his nefarious schemes.
Yeah.
That's typical comic books. So now we have him fighting the elementals as a hero that's escaped.
Which we have to know is bullshit.
It's like, this is fucking Mysterio.
Yeah, he's a crook.
His stock in trade is lying to you.
Yeah.
Putting on a good show with special effects to kind of back up his bullshit story. But when you get down to it, he's a bullshit story conman. He's a really advanced high tech. Now, if you tell me he's gotten hold of some Chitauri technology, if he's gotten hold of some tech that survived the battle with Thanos,
which they might do when I don't mind a powered up Mysterio like that. At all. Mm-hmm. I think it'd make him more of an interesting villain. But yeah, ostensibly that's what we have to assume. We have to assume the way they're selling the trailer right now might be a hero. They're brothers in arms. No, it's bullshit. We have to assume he's still going to be the fucking villain at the end.
Of course he is.
Yeah, he's just fucking Mysterio. I like the fact that they're bringing him in. I like the fact that we're finally getting to see that kind of character.
As long as they don't bring in the fucking Rhino, okay? Just. I got to say, this is honestly the Tom Holland version of Spider-Man. I think is the best. Of
it
the
absolutely
three versions.
Is the best version.
I kind of like the Tobey Maguire version, but he was. And I'll be fair, he was a little weepy. And him and Kirsten Dunst had no fucking chemistry.
They had no chemistry, and I remember being a kid watching it. The first Spider-Man came out, like, what was it, 2002?
02. I remember it was 02, and the reason I remember that is because the original trailer
had the Twin Towers.
Had the Twin Towers with him having a web between them to catch a helicopter.
To change it.
And after 9/11 came out, this is a little fucking tasteless, guys. Let's change this shit.
Yeah.
So,
I remember that now. But I remember I was a teen watching it, and I was prepared for some cheese because it's Sam Raimi. He always has a bit of camp in his movies. But whenever he said that line, Gobby, to Green Goblin, it was so fucking cringy. There were too many moments in the first Spider-Man that I think that they were trying to go for that comic book camp, and it just came across as really cringy.
Sometimes they nailed it, sometimes it didn't. By the time they got to Spider, of course, Raimi wasn't in Spider-Man 3, the one with Venom, and my god, what a waste of a great villain.
You're right. Are they ever going to get him right? Are they ever going to get?
He did write in his own standalone Venom movie. I like that one.
I didn't like it that much. I didn't. My problem with the Venom movie, this would be a different time to debate this, is I didn't mind the creature Venom. Eddie Brock was not the Eddie Brock that I grew up with. This Eddie Brock was almost like a reporter kind of social justice warrior. kind of out for the poor. Eddie Brock that I grew up with doesn't give a fuck about the poor.
Yeah.
Eddie Brock cares about his own ego. He'll make it look like he's helping the working class if it's going to help his name in the paper.
Well, I think they tried to fast track to later versions.
No, of Eddie Brock when he's not such a bastard.
They tried to fast track directly to the anti-hero Venom.
Yeah,
and they skipped over like the 10 to 15 years where he was the straight up villain.
He's a fucking bastard. Like Eddie Brock, that was one of the important parts of the Spider-Man Venom arc was when Peter says, "Oh my God, this shit made me a monster. What is it going to do to somebody as crazy and mean as Eddie Brock?"
Yeah.
Because Eddie Brock was a bastard.
And they kind of just glossed over all of that.
They really did.
No, we can't kill and eat people. Well, why not? Well, Eddie Brock would say, well, why the fuck not?
Yeah, I'm hungry, motherfucker. Like,
so,
Eddie ate a lot of people in the comic books.
Oh, well, yeah, and, among other things. And then Carnage was worse.
Yeah.
But so I like the Tobey Maguire version. It was imperfect, but it was good. I mean, at least the first
it was good
two
for
movies.
the time. I will say that it was really good for the time. It deserved its success for the time.
The Andrew Garfield version was
It was Sony trying to keep their franchise what it was because it happened, so quick. I mean, I remember whenever they were doing, it, I was like, wait, because back then rebooting shit that soon was
that
hard.
soon, yeah,
it was a big deal, and I was like, why are they rebooting it so soon? It hasn't been 10 years. It's crazy how
they
fast
shit
they did
the
it.
bed with Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
He's like, no, we got to reboot this shit.
Sony shit the bed and they knew it, and they wanted to hurry up and keep their character, so they did it quick.
I did like the chemistry between Garfield and Emma Stone. I thought they worked much
very
better
believable.
as Gwen Stacy and Peter.
They
But
did.
the story was stupid. The villains were stupid.
The villains felt like they were thrown in there.
Lizard is a C-list villain at best.
He really is. I was wondering why they picked him. I know that they didn't want to do what was done before, so we didn't want another Norman Osborn. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't want to do another Venom so soon.
But
Lizard? Like, what the fuck?
And then, what the fuck is this Electro you're rolling out on me?
Yeah, that is.
We've got a Rain Man version of Electro. What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't.
What?
Why did they make him this sort of Urkel character?
Electro is another one of those C-list villains.
Yeah.
He's good for like an issue or two, but he's not going to be a serious threat on that. We're going to throw him in the. We didn't have anybody better to throw up here. And not only that, but we took a C-list villain and we dumbed him down.
Yeah, we made him this weird schmuck of a character before he becomes Electro. It's just really bad writing.
And then
with
he was a schmuck with superpowers.
Then he was a schmuck with superpowers. See, that's again. So it's who the fuck? I'm trying to find the person that would argue, unless it's some 14-year-old troll, that this Spider-Man isn't the best rendition of Spider-Man that we've had.
I do like that we just took the expressway and just skipped right over the origin story because we fucking know.
We know.
We don't have to kill Uncle Bill again.
Yeah.
He's been shot enough times.
He really has.
We know who Spider-Man is. We know his background. And they've tweaked it a little bit. They tried to modernize it a little bit. That's okay.
I have a feeling because of the fact that this kid's going to be Spider-Man for the next 15 years. At least. Because look at the way Hugh Jackman was.
If we're lucky.
If we're lucky, yeah.
We only got Robert Downey Jr. for 11 years.
Right. But, I mean, look, I have a strong feeling we're going to be talking about this 10, 15 years from now. The way Hugh Jackman took on Wolverine and played that character so well for almost 2 decades, we're going to get that with this kid. That's why they picked him so young. Because we're going to see Spider-Man into his 30s.
Yeah, let's start with teenage Spider-Man and roll him up to his 20s and 30s like we have in the comic books.
Exactly.
And speaking of other things that are come into the MCU as well, and I've heard a few half announcements about this coming up. Of course, the elephant in the room again, X-Men, Fantastic Four. Now that Disney owns Fox, they're back in the stable. And I can only hope that Marvel, as solid as a track record that they've been up to here, can figure out a way to do the Fantastic Four, which is like the first family of superheroes, and not fuck them up. And, of course, the big one is that you need your next major villain after we've dealt with Thanos and Loki and Ultron. Doctor Doom
Doom is such an important villain in the comic book universe.
Don't fucking nerf him.
They've nerfed him in the movies, or just made him sort of like a gimmicky, almost Power Rangers villain.
Jilted lover is what he was in those first 2 movies. Basically, it's a lover. That is not Doom. Doom does not give a fuck about anybody but Doom.
Yeah.
And Doom is convinced that he is a god who just hasn't been recognized as
Yeah.
such yet, and he's got the power to back up that claim.
Yeah, the fact that again they've nerfed him so much in the movies I'm trying to remember. Is it 20th Century Fox that did both of the last two Fantastic Four movies? The one with Jessica Alba and this recent one that was
They
horrible?
did all three.
God damn it.
The two with Alba and the one that I didn't even bother seeing the fan four stick.
That one I thought, oh my god, maybe they're
It
not
just
gonna fuck
looked
up.
horrible in the trailers. I just I'm out.
I tried to give it a chance. It was one of those things where I was up like at 1 o'clock in the morning, HBO, so I watch it, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Even by the standards of 1 in the morning, I'm not feeling
What
good.
is this bullshit I'm watching here?
Yeah,
And it's
it
like
was horrible. It was the writing was bad, the pacing was bad, the acting was bad. It was barely tangible to watch. And but I trust Disney. I think that if they can do Guardians,
Okay, no. I trust Marvel.
I trust Marvel. I
I want to point out,
I mean, yeah.
Disney gave us The Last Jedi.
This is true.
So,
I meant to say I trust Marvel. Disney did what they were supposed to with the Marvel Universe. They let Marvel's writers do their own thing. Stan Lee and the writers of Marvel, when I was reading, were constantly on set. They were the ones who were heavily involved with the writing. They let them do their own thing. This is why Avengers and the MCU was able to be so successful under Disney. That did not happen with Star Wars because of Star Wars, people directly from Disney were involved in a lot of politics,
Oh, yeah.
like Catherine Kennedy,
Yep.
and it fucked it up. If you let them do their own thing, it can be successful. I wish the fucking DC would realize that because they pass their shit. You write it. You do it.
Yeah. So, and here's the deal with both comic book franchises, DC and Marvel, on this. And they both have built-in advantages over the Star Wars franchise. The Star Wars franchise has got the disadvantage. It doesn't have 50-plus years of comic book stories to draw plot lines and characters out of.
Right.
They have to make shit up on their own. And the studio was way too involved with that. Marvel and DC have 50 years of source material to
Yeah.
pull from, get their hands over all of the franchises in the DC universe. Well, there's been some good movies in there.
They're mostly the animated ones, please. I mean, like
No. That's an entirely different animal. The animated movies are,
on another level.
yeah, they're just as good as the MCU movies are.
Yeah.
In fact, they come out more often too.
Yeah.
Those are beautiful movies. But I'm talking about their theatrical releases. They are a hot mess. I mean, there have been some good ones. I liked Wonder Woman. I liked Aquaman. I love Shazam.
That was pretty good. Yeah, I had fun.
On that. But
We've also had Suicide Squad.
yeah, we had Suicide Squad, which was what the fuck. We've had some hot messes in there, and now I've heard. I know at least of the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, but I'm hearing they're making 3 simultaneous Joker. We don't need 3 Joker movies.
I am not familiar with that news. I saw the trailer to the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, and I've watched it countless times, and I really love what I see. But again, it's DC. It's always going to be hit or miss with those guys.
There's no unifying thread. It's this. You can tell the studio's fingerprints are all over this thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of focus group going on here, and they just won't let them tell their story. So it's kind of a disjointed mess.
No, it's a shit mill.
Marvel, Disney at least had the insight to listen, you guys have got 50 years of great shit to work with here. We have our opinions and our input, but you know what? You got a track record. You've got this shit down. We're just going to let you do your thing here.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking. So I think we can do the Fantastic Four properly. If nothing else, bring in Doom as your phase. Are we in phase 4 or phase 5 now? Phase 4, I guess we are.
In 4 now. Yeah.
So in phase 4, Doom can be your big baddie. You know, he'd make a perfect big baddie. And who you cast, I don't know. It's wide open on that.
yeah.
There's.
So I think they can. I think they can do. If anybody can do those characters right, it's going to be the MCU. I think they can do finally Fantastic Four justice. I think they can finally do the X-Men justice. I was never really as a kid satisfied with any of the X-Men movies. There's some that I liked, okay.
Real hit and miss. Real hit and miss.
They were very, very hit and miss.
First 2 X-Men movies.
Great.
First one, X-Men United, rock solid movies. United was almost a flawless sequel to X-Men.
Yeah.
It just picked up right where the first one left off and kept the whole thing going with all the character beats. Last Stand.
No, fuck The Last Stand.
I could see what they were trying to do here and where they were going, but really?
I remember leaving the theater when I was younger at The Last Stand and being pissed. And I remember people were like glaring at me because I was like, oh man, fuck this movie. Like I literally yelled that as I was leaving the theater.
They've had some hit and misses. Of course, we also got, Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past is one of my favorite, actually, comic book movies in the last decade.
Yeah.
It's just brilliantly done.
I got to put the topper of all of them, of course, is Logan. Which was just
literally nominated
another
for an
movie that
Oscar.
made me cry.
Yeah.
It was Logan. When Logan dies, spoiler. When Logan dies at the end, it's like, oh my God, Logan, no. It's like,
Yeah, we spent 18 years watching this fucking guy as Logan.
but it was a perfect wrap up
It really was.
of that character. So I have confidence that Marvel will probably take a year or so, probably 2, to let the X-Men just kind of simmer down for a while.
Yeah, they have to.
And come out with a fresh reboot.
I hope the reboot we see of X-Men, and now we're again getting into the future of the MCU, I hope the reboot that we do see of X-Men is going to be so close to the comic books, or at least like, remember, Night of the Sentinels, remember the very first episode of the X-Men series? I want them to go in that direction. I want Jubilee in there. I want Rogue, not teenage, scared, whiny Rogue, teen angst Rogue, fucking real Rogue. And that's going to be hard because she can't grab Captain Marvel's character, but they can do something else with her. But I don't want no fucking nerfed, whiny teenage Rogue.
Well,
I really hope we get a good one.
You can do the comic book version of have Rogue suck up some of Captain Marvel's power and become her supercharged version of herself. And
Or
there's been
Kree or something.
so many characters gone through the X-Men roster over the years. Which version do you want to go with? There's so many different versions, and you can't hardly argue with any of them. I would really hope we get one that's less Wolverine-centric because he kind of dominated, and that's because the X-Men ultimately are a team,
Yeah.
and they work better as a team, and when you try to make it the Wolverine show, it kind of took away from the focus.
It took away from Cyclops. Let's fucking say it.
Cyclops got fucked.
And he was so screwed over in the franchise that we've seen so far. I mean, he was such an important character.
For such an important character, I don't think they know how to write him. I don't think Fox knew how to write Cyclops, because Cyclops is the team leader. He's the leader. He is the tactical genius. He's the field marshal.
He is, because in the comic books, he knew what he was doing. He had some smart moments. He had some moments where he was kind of a bastard, but he had those smart moments in the comic books. He had some wit about him. He was very entertaining. You're right. They did not know how to write that in the movies. And it really sucks, too, because I really like James Marsden.
Yeah.
He really got screwed in the third X-Men movie because like in the first fucking, I think, 10
They
minutes.
killed him like in the opening scenes.
Yeah.
I mean, in the very first X-Men movie, they kind of showed a little bit about how he's leading the team and he's making the tactical decisions and he's kind of leading, but they got real far away from that real fucking fast.
No, it was Wolverine's movie.
Right.
It was
And
Wolverine's movie in the first fucking
like, okay,
X-Men.
he's kind of the leader, but yeah, I'm the badass. I'm going to be the big dick in the classroom now that takes all the focus away from you. And again, there's that spark, that natural rivalry between the two of them.
It would have made that rivalry and the spark more interesting if you would have given Cyclops more screen time and got us into that character more, because then you have these two heavyweights that are given equal footing, and then there's fighting and tension. But we were deprived of that because, like you said, it was a fucking Wolverine movie.
Yeah, and also, I'd like to have a Jean Grey who is somewhere between Dark Phoenix and a Wallflower. Because apparently that's a binary.
It is.
Because it's either she's, oh no, I don't know what to
Fainting.
do with my powers. And it's, oh my God, I'm so scared to unleash my thing and I can't really control it and I can't control all these voices in my head. You're fucking Jean Grey. Get your shit together.
Yeah. You know what? As much as I loved, there's a funny-ass compilation video on YouTube I got to show you that's called Jean Grey is Completely Fucking Useless. And it shows how in the comic books, she's actually kind of a smart tactician herself. She does a lot of cool shit, and she saves a lot of people. In the animated series in the 90s, she was always fucking fainting.
Yes.
Oh, Scott. And somebody's always screaming, Jean, are you okay, Jean? That's all we got from the fucking book, the animated series.
I love the cartoon X-Men. That was a classic, iconic series. They did so many things right.
They
including
did.
how to handle Cyclops
Yes,
as a team leader.
they really did.
But it's like, really, does Jean have to faint
She
every
faints
third episode?
every other episode, and I never thought about it as a kid. But then I watched the compilation video, and it was fucking hilarious. There was one thing that they showed her. She literally trips over a power cord. I'm not making this up. They have.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
She tripped over literally a fucking power cord, hits the floor, gets hurt, and has to be rescued. They literally have this bitch trip over a power cord.
I remember this.
It was
I had
so
forgotten about that, but
fucking
I
bad.
do remember that. It's like, besides being the second most powerful telepath on the planet behind Xavier,
Yeah.
she is a pretty serious telekinetic as well. She's a pretty strong telekinetic.
She's in the book. She's a badass, and we get to see it.
And she is one of the founding members of the X-Men and totally is capable of carrying her own weight. So I would like to see more screen time for Cyclops, Phoenix as serious characters,
Yeah.
not just jokes. Yeah, well, you're going to have Wolverine. You're not going to be able to do X-Men without Wolverine. The fans won't tolerate it. But some of the iconic characters, Beast, I kind of like Beast as a personal favorite of mine, but I can see how you might want to leave him out because, he's kind of a duplicate in there.
What what they did with Beast in this last series of the first class generation, I didn't mind that. I think that they did really good with
What
him.
they did when they went back to the 60s and all that, I think that worked out very well with the new. I like the new Beast just fine. The Fraser Beast, not so much.
No, that was cringy.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's Fraser Crane in blue makeup. That's not Beast.
It's
I
like
kept waiting for him to say, Niles.
it's like said. Now, granted, Hank McCoy has some of those Fraser-like qualities, but he's not Fraser.
But he's not Fraser.
It's like he can talk like a normal person. He knows he's the smartest guy in the room usually, but he doesn't act like it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see who I consider my iconic X-Men, and you can argue wherever you want. Cyclops, Jean Grey, Wolverine, of course, Colossus.
Colossus is an important badass in the books, too.
He's kind of been relegated to a joke character in the Deadpool movies, and I'm okay with that because he basically is the straight guy to Deadpool, and that's all right. I'd like to see Nightcrawler as a regular member of the team. I think, that's a blend. Storm, of course, got to have Storm.
Storm is my favorite female character. I want somebody older, taller, very powerful, with a very strong motherly presence.
She needs to have a strong presence because in the comics she starts off kind of unsure and a little weak-willed when she first comes to X-Men.
Yeah.
She's a little doubtful about herself, but she grows into her own quickly.
She's badass.
Well, she takes over the X-Men.
She really does. And even in the animated series, the woman who did the voice of Storm was so memorable, and she had such a strong, powerful voice. I want somebody with that type of fucking presence.
That presence, that gravitas with that. And, of course, I'd like to have a villain besides Magneto.
Yeah, that's one of the things we talked about last night. Was every other movie in the X-Men, it's Eric being a dick. It's.
What do you mean every other?
Well,
movie? What movie was he not a dick?
he not a villain in? But it was like, well, he wasn't the main villain in X2. He kind of was in X3.
He's a villain in this movie. He's a dick in that movie. He's a villain in this next movie.
And he's still a dick in the next one. Yeah,
it's like he alternates between villain and dick. He's never really,
I'm sick of him being the main antagonist. Yeah, I agree.
It's like too much Magneto, too much Wolverine. There's a rich history of villains they could bring in. And now that we've kind of branched out with the Guardians and everything, we can reach out to the CR Empire.
Yeah.
We can reach out to the Brood, which, okay, let's be honest, the Brood are alien ripoffs, but
They fucking are.
but they're totally badass. You can bring in Genosha.
Yeah.
The nation that persecutes mutants to the point of slavery. You can bring
There's so much that they can work with bringing in the X-Men that can play in well with this new phrase.
You do, what's the Hank guy, the government guy.
Prim?
Prim, yeah.
Yeah.
With the Sentinels. You can bring in the Sentinels and leave Magneto out. We don't need Magneto in every movie.
Right.
And
I like the character, but yeah, we've been saturated with him. What I'm looking forward to is for them to do Apocalypse right. The last time we saw Apocalypse, which was sadly such a brilliant actor that they buried him in shitty makeup, Oscar Isaac. That Apocalypse was horrible. It was like a Power Rangers villain. He reminded me of Ivan Ooze.
Ivan Ooze, yeah. Even before even the first trailer dropped, yeah, that's Ivan Ooze, dude.
Yeah, that's who it fucking was. That's what it felt like. They were scared to do a CGI villain like they did so brilliantly with Thanos. He needs to have that. He needs to be huge, and he needs to have that deep, scary, intimidating voice like the Apocalypse did in the old animated series. I'll never forget his voice.
Another good villain they can roll out. There's so many great ones. Man, you can make like 5 or 6 movies and not repeat villains.
Right.
Mr. Sinister.
Yeah. No, and supposedly Sony's doing a Sinister movie, and so that sucks. It's the guy from Blade Runner, and he's also in. Oh, I'm having a brain fart. Jared Leto. Jared is no. I'm completely wrong. It's not Sinister. He's doing Morbius. Completely wrong. Forget,
Morbius.
Scratch that. Yeah, he's doing. They have him doing Morbius, and I don't know.
Yeah, Morbius is okay. I mean, it depends on.
He's kind of random.
But you know what? So was Ant-Man.
Right.
So like
That turned out good.
We did fucking Ant-Man and made a great movie. So Morbius.
Maybe it won't suck.
Apologies to Wesley Snipes. It's about time for a Blade reboot.
Yeah, and I had heard there was, the rumor mill was saying for the longest time that it was going to be Jamie Foxx, and it pissed me off. I was like, really? Is he the only go-to black guy we have right now, Jamie Foxx? No.
I guess Idris Elba has already been used.
Just give me a late 20-year-old.
There are so many good quality black actors out there.
Right. Are we going to use Jamie? What the
I'm
fuck?
thinking of, what was that guy from Get Out?
He would be really good.
I forget the actor's name.
Yeah, the main guy.
Yeah, but you could make him into Blade.
He's such a good actor, too.
Little training, little martial arts with that, a little working out. But
I could see him as Blade.
I totally if you did with Chris Evans, if he goes from Human Torch to Captain America, why not with this dude?
Yeah.
But that's like I just picked up off the top of my head. There's so many quality black actors out there.
That's not Jamie Foxx. It's like, for fuck's sake.
And if you want to go where we want to be more inclusive and get away from the all-white male hero thing, which is fair on that, Marvel's got a lot of roster. They've got a deep roster of characters of various backgrounds. Boy, you name almost any background you could think of.
I'm wondering if they're ever going to do, speaking of really obscure characters, I doubt anyone who knows who this fucker is before we stop. Do you remember Captain Universe?
Vaguely.
He's my point exactly.
I think I remember reading a few references, but he was not very often used.
He was basically, I found it very interesting as a kid, he was one of the very few Hispanic superheroes. He was basically Captain America meets Guardians of the Galaxy, which was a very interesting concept. And he got some attention in the 90s. We just didn't hear from him. But no, he was an interesting obscure character that maybe they could work with. They're doing Shang-Chi, I think. Which is an
I heard
Asian
that.
superhero, which is going to be very interesting.
As long as they cast an actual Asian guy to play him.
Starring Brad Pitt.
Really? All the people out there?
Yeah.
Okay. Of course, that kind of flips me back to the people. Okay, first off, plenty of reasons to shit on Iron Fist. But one of them is, they cast a white guy to be Iron Fist. Well, he's a white guy.
Yeah, I don't think you guys know. Iron Fist is a white boy. He's a rich, bratty white boy in the books.
Yeah, it's like, okay, there's plenty of reasons to shit on Iron Fist as a series on that. And trust me, we can make them. I think we already did an episode about that.
Yeah, we did. How horrible that is.
It's like, but there are if you want a diverse cast of character, Marvel's got it ready.
Yeah.
They have got you just run through the X-Men, you can run through the Avengers, you can run through the villains, you can run through the heroes.
Yeah.
Wherever you want to go, we can come up with everything.
I look forward to the fact that, again, in the MCU, before we finish this, the Eternals is supposed to be the next big fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're hyping it up right now and rubbing their hands together. Like the
next
way
Guardians.
Yeah, well, like bigger. Like they're talking about it like the way Jon Favreau was talking about Iron Man back in 2008, and I was scratching my fucking head when Jon Favreau came on G4 Network. Remember, that was a badass
Oh
thing.
God, I forgot G4. Rest in peace.
Yeah, such a great network, and that's how we met Olivia Moon. When he came on there on G4 Network saying, "You guys, Iron Man's going to be the next biggest thing, and Robert Downey's going to kill it," I was sitting there going, what the fuck is Jon Favreau talking about? Iron Man?
Really?
And
Iron Man?
And then I heard of Robert Downey. I'm like, Robert Downey?
Wasn't he the dude that got strung out on drugs?
And he
kept
just
going
got
in and
out of prison.
rehab
Yeah,
and,
like
you know?
when John Favreau announced that, I think he had gotten out of prison and he had done one movie with Halle Berry. I remember what the name of that fucking movie was, but he had done like one or two recovery movies. So I didn't picture him as any kind of a superhero. And then look what it did.
He fucking nailed it.
He fucking nailed it, and it started off arguably the universe after Hulk.
Oh, it absolutely did. Well, yeah, Hulk. Upon
We don't really count that as the first Marvel movie.
I'm not sure if we. There's argument about whether you count the Ang Lee version.
No,
of
I
the Hulk.
absolutely refuse to.
We kind of like to pretend it doesn't exist because
We show fair respect to the Edward Norton Hulk, but really we all consider the first Iron Man the first MCU movie, don't we?
Yeah, yeah. Well, he came out before the Ed Norton Hulk.
Did it?
Yeah, because Tony Stark was in the
That's
Endgame
right, because
or the end
that's
credit.
what does cameo. So it really was. It really
Yeah.
was the first MCU movie.
Right.
So yeah, so what they're saying now is that the Eternals are going to be the next big thing. They're trying to supposedly tap Angelina Jolie, and they're trying to tap, of all people, Keanu Reeves. Two people I really like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just very surprised that they're going with such well-knowns because the MCU has such a great track record of getting these unknowns and having them fucking kill it.
Yeah.
You know, who the fuck knew who Tom Holland was?
Yeah.
When he got casted.
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt
The-
was
the
the
dude
goofy
from-
dude. Parks and
Yeah,
Rec.
from Parks and Rec. You know, since I might have seen a few episodes of it, but,
Yeah.
but he was like the goofy fat slob on Parks
He
and Rec,
really
and now
was.
he's a superhero.
Yeah, and I
okay.
like him as Star-Lord.
He made that role his own.
Yeah.
I mean, they take these unknown act. No, there's plenty of known
Robert
actors.
Downey. Oh. Did we really know Thor before? What's his name? Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth?
We didn't. I didn't know.
He had done some minor things.
He had
along
done
the way,
a
but
couple horror
He
movies.
wasn't really a name.
No, he wasn't. No.
I mean, but you know, Samuel L. Jackson, of course, he had his own career before this.
Yeah, it's Samuel L. fucking Jackson.
But if you would just run through the Avengers themselves, you know, Robert Downey Jr., kind of heard of him, washed up dude. Chris Evans, the dude from the first Fantastic Four, all right,
maybe.
yeah, all right. If that's where you want to go, Chris Hemsworth, he kind of got the look for that.
Yeah.
You know, Scarlett Johansson, she's kind of hot.
She's done a couple things, but
yeah.
she wasn't. I don't know.
She wasn't a
A-lister.
She wasn't a star.
She wasn't an A-lister when she got first
She was B-list
casted.
at best.
Yeah.
At that point, all these like second, third tier actors, they turned them into household names. They turned them into superstars.
Goddamn right.
So, and they've done it time and time again. Tom Holland,
Loki.
Zoe Saldana, who
She's done a couple things, but she
but,
wasn't.
she was, she was
A-lister.
a hurrah.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing she'd done at that point. You
Yeah.
know, which is kind of cool, but again, hurrah.
Yeah.
But so we took these B and C list actors and we made them into superstars, and I think you can do that with pretty much any franchise you want to roll out.
I think they can too. It's going to be very, very interesting to see where they go with the Eternals because these are such powerful. The Eternals, people don't know, are demigods basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah, they're pretty much demigods made by real gods,
The Celestials.
the Celestials.
Mhm.
And so, where the fuck they're going to go with that story, I don't know. But it's going to be very interesting. I think it's interesting that they chose them as the next big thing.
Yeah, because I mean, what you do on Earth itself.
Yeah.
Well, I think Spider-Man, he's going to set the tone of what the Earthbound MCU,
Yeah,
what direction
absolutely.
that's going to go with. But now that we've branched out to the universe, we can do almost anything.
Yeah.
We can bring in whatever you want. Pretty much, we have opened up Marvel's entire playbook.
Yeah.
We've got their full roster of literally thousands of
Yeah.
characters we could roll out, both well-known and obscure.
Yeah. And it's funny because we right now, when we're looking at the end of Endgame, we're sitting here going, it's emotional. It's the end of an era. We forget, like you just said, there is an entire universe that's being waited to tap into for the next 20 fucking years. They're going to be making these till the end of the world. I mean,
If we can still make James Bond movies 50 fucking years later, I don't see any reason at all for Marvel to slow down because
Really,
they got
they-
a lot more material to work with.
and they're going to keep this same universe going as
Why
long
not?
as they fucking can.
Why
yeah.
not? It's just
Yeah.
like you've got gold.
Yeah.
Keep it going on that. DC, pay attention. They've set you the blueprint. Tell Warner Brothers to fuck off.
if maybe, before we're both senile.
I think at one point Warner Brothers is going to have to reboot their universe.
Well, it's
do a hard reboot.
Here's the thing, though. It's really frustrating is that there's some interesting DC movies that are coming out, but they're all independent from each other. You have Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, and then you have the Batman now, which is the kid from fucking, I call him a kid, he's my age now, in his early 30s. The guy from Twilight I don't know if you heard, he got cast as Batman.
I heard that. I'm processing that still.
Yeah.
I was like, because
he's a good actor. He carries the stink, and it's not fair for him, of Twilight.
And if I haven't gone on record over this before, fuck Twilight.
Right. That's one of our very, very comfortable catchphrases here on this show.
As like I said, those guys, they are not welcome at the cons. We
we
include everybody except you Twilight assholes. But
that's so funny, but it's true.
In fairness to him as an actor, he didn't write that shit.
He didn't. He got casted at it as a young guy who was practically a fucking kid, and he's trying to get away from it. So I respect that. He jokes about disliking Twilight. He's a good actor. I've seen him in other movies.
I've seen him do good shit. I've seen him do other stuff good.
So I have my hopes up that, especially with who's writing and who's making it, that the Batman is not going to suck. But sadly, again, it's exemplary of how that movie and other movies in the DC so-called universe are not really in the same universe, because Wonder Woman can't be in his universe, because the Batman is set in I think the late 90s, when he's like in his 20s. Yeah. And it's made from a different studio than who's making Wonder Woman. And I think that not the Avengers, the Justice League. I think Justice League is pretty much dead, right? I don't think I've heard anything about a new Superman movie. Ben Affleck has left Batman.
Well, you've lost your two of the Trinity. You don't have your Batman, you don't have your Superman, so it's already fallen apart. I mean, you can recast the roles, and we already have on this, but you've got to build some continuity here, because you're just all over the map. You're so disjointed. You can't bring all your pieces together. And Marvel did. Granted, I don't believe that Marvel had this concrete blueprint from day one on that, but they had.
I think they had an idea to let's create a universe, but from the beginning, did they know that it was going to be this intricate and this, well done? Fuck no. But they could have only hoped.
They had the brains to build on what they had already put down, and not to flush away what they had already had put into place. And DC is like, people didn't like that movie. We'll just pretend it didn't exist.
Yeah. Next.
It's like so. I think at some point, God, I hate to say this because I did like Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and Shazam. I think they're going to need a reboot again.
Yeah, they are. They're going to have to. In the next decade, that's what's going to happen, because they have to realize that the future of your franchise is creating your own universe like the MCU did. Yeah. They have to.
And if you can't do that, then, you're going to go the path of Terminator.
Yeah. Another franchise that fell off the fucking map. Okay, we have to say that for another episode.
We'll tell you what, let's wrap it up, because we're going to go all night long. We'll go from one topic to the next. So we'll save some of this for future episodes. We got plenty of movies coming up over the summer. We can review that, various franchises, and just the state of general nerddom as it is.
Yeah. So good night, folks. Thank you so much for joining us, and see us next time.